What do you think of the turbo fans on the back of the RTRs? I'm gonna do it on my car.
Yeah.
I really don't like the look of the body kits that they did for them.
Oh, because you don't like the square though.
The square fenders really throws me off.
I think it looks good.
There's been a lot of change-ups in FD this year, as far as car-wise and stuff like that.
What do you think of the turbo fans on the back of the RTRs?
The turbo what?
The fan deals in the back. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't have a real opinion. I haven't seen them like close up enough to even really like tell. Like,
it looks weird though.
Sort of. Yeah, it is different, but
I'm gonna do it on my car.
Yeah.
It does look weird as fuck though. Dude. Why? It's gonna be funny.
I really don't like the look. The body kits that they did for them.
Really?
They look so silly.
Because you don't like the square, though.
The square fenders really throws me off.
I think it looks good.
like it.
I do too. I think it looks cool. It looks like as far as you can go.
Surprisingly, the discs in the back, I don't mind.
Oh, the arrow wheels, the arrow disc wheels.
Yeah, because it's a flat face wheel, and Vaughn just hated the look of it. So
I'm going to do that to my car. I put a render on my face because, like, I don't know if you've seen my Instagram or whatever.
No, I have. I follow. I mean, I fall for the memes, obviously.
You're right. Obviously, that's the trope everybody comes for, and then they're like, "Oh, wait, he makes videos too." But anyway, I put a picture of it up with photoshopped arrow fans over my rear wheels, and I was like, "You can't make everyone more mad with that." And then it's the picture of that. And dude, the fucking comments are hilarious. They're like, you better fucking not. Oh my God.
Yeah, I surprisingly don't mind them.
I think it'll look cool and be funny. And I'm only going to do it on my spare set that I only have a pair of. I don't have 4. So it'll be funny to like have both.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like,
is that why you needed to know what?
Yeah, I need to know so I can tell them because they'll look up the specs. But actually, they tell me it was like $700 and I can make it for way less than that. So I probably should make my own. We'll see.
It's just hubcaps.
That's
yeah.
Actually, looks, you know?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Actually, funny enough, I mean, like BMW made a wheel. They're called I'm forgetting the name.
It's called Turbofan.
Yeah, the Turbofan. Like they actually had it was like a hubcap was actually the fascia of the wheel, and then you could like take it off, and it was like a double 5-spoke underneath, and it actually like looked pretty cool because you could essentially like you could take the fascia of the wheel off, and then you could snap it back on. It was on the 5 Series on like the M5. And I know guys that run them on their S13s, but they're actually getting pretty rare as a wheel anymore, and they're worth a lot of money. Okay. But I always thought, I was like, well, it's designed specifically for that. Like you could make different like fascias that you could just like snap on like hubcaps.
Yeah.
And then you could like, you know, change your wheels every event or something like that. Well, because all you have to do is just pop them on, pop them off. You could like mix and match and do
talk about flex points.
Yeah, I mean, those were just OEM wheels, though. Like, I had a friend who had a pair of them, and he would just sometimes run the fascias on them, sometimes not. And you'd be like, "Oh boy, you got new wheels!" And no, the same wheels.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so did you watch to the end of FD? I don't want to spoil it for
just you. Like literally 30 minutes before we got here. So
you did watch it though?
Yeah, no, watch.
Oh, so it's fresh. Okay,
yeah, it's very fresh.
So do you think Jonathan Cash got robbed?
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, just as a point of consistency, like, I mean, I've never seen somebody lose a battle
to someone who spun.
To someone who spun, but also to somebody specifically because their bumper came off. I mean, like, look.
Well, it wasn't just the bumper. The trunk lid flew up.
The trunk lid
but it didn't come off.
But it
didn't fully come off?
It's like,
I thought it came all the way off.
In the past, I mean, this might be due to, like, because they've changed a lot of the judging this year so far. Like in the regulations, everything is very different. And I mean, I don't want to say like he got completely robbed as in
we just say that for television.
I would say that it's kind of a little odd call for the bumper and the trunk to make the difference in an at fault thing.
Okay, so I've never done spotting, right? And I've done one competition, right? I'm not like a professional about this stuff. Right. We're just shooting the shit, okay?
Yeah.
But to me, in the rules, it says you can't lose momentum and you can't lose your line. Right. He didn't slow down, okay? And it didn't mess up his line. It messed up the other guy's line. Yeah. And then because I have like a background in drag racing, dude, a chase is a race. If you stick your foot back in it and come after me, that's it. It's on.
There is a bit in the competition rules that if you have a door, a trunk, or some other openable thing on the car comes open in the run, that can actually be considered an incomplete. And there was one run like years ago where I remember somebody's carbon roof literally ripped off the car. Like it just like flew off the car, and then they got an incomplete for it. Even though it's supposed to be fastenable stuff, but the roof, they were kind of like, I remember them going back and forth going like, is that, cause it's not supposed to come, it just it happened to come off. But yeah, no, like I've seen in the past, there's been people that have lost simply just because their hatch opened. And like, that's in the rules, but it was because there were times where people had stuff open up in the middle of a run, and then like the chase driver bails because he's like, oh, I don't know what's coming out of that,
Yeah.
And I get it, but like,
I don't know.
I think the rules,
it should have been one more time at the very minimum, in my opinion.
I think it should have been one more time, but I also think that, like per the spirit of the rules, his trunk didn't come open because it was unlatched. It came open because he got in contact with the wall. And it's like, yes, the wall that's basically a big deduction for like hitting the wall, coming off angle and everything like that. But he didn't straighten out, and he did continue the whole rest of the run. And then, Rome did react, and it did throw him off. But at the same time, it's like,
but okay, so
it's like, there's too much of a gray area. Per the rule book, I genuinely think it was the right call.
He spun out 2 zones later, and dude, honestly, I like Rome Charpentier. I like he's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean,
but he spun out 2 zones later, or 2 zones later.
He didn't get around the horseshoe all the way. Yeah. It's not like he made a complete run and then they were like docking Jonathan.
So he hit the wall and he spun. In my eyes, it's like, okay, well, it messed his mojo up, so that's probably why he spun. But it should have been one more time. Anyway, I
think they needed to play for the show a little bit more and just done the one more time.
I think what they ended up doing is they might have incompleted both of them on that run, the run that Rome was chasing, right? So when Hurst hit the wall, they were basically 2 incompletes because then Rome didn't complete that run fully because he spun. So what they did is they did a lead versus lead, right? And they do that a lot. So like if they decided that both were incompletes on that run, then they go lead for lead. So you have an incomplete lead from Jonathan Hurst, and then you had a complete lead from Rome. So
okay, well then I guess that makes sense.
Because if they incompleted him for the trunk popping open or something like that, then it's like that makes sense. But it's like some of the little nitty gritty details in the competition book, like when you read the rule book like fully, and you're like, okay, because I mean sometimes it explains a lot of the decisions. If you want to take the time to read through it, it's pretty boring, but. It's
rules.
It's rules. They're dry.
Rules suck.
I like reading rule books though. I read rule books for other series that I don't have to, just because I get into this little game of going, okay, where can I find something?
Yeah, where's the middle line?
Nobody's doing. Yeah. Right. Like for a while in FD, there wasn't anything about traction control or running GPS in your car. And I was sitting there, I was like, oh, I know somebody's going to take advantage of that. Like there's going to be somebody that's going to figure out something about like how they can program into the ECU. I want this percentage of wheel speed over ground speed, and then have the ECU limit it to where you don't blow your tires off, but like you have just that percentage to where you're still moving forward. Oh yeah,
so you're on the pedal at 100, but it's only commanding 80 or something to keep the wheel speed.
It's like if your wheel speed's at like 140 and you want 100 ground speed, and then you don't want any more than that. But you can keep your throttle pinned, and then the ECU just kind of like controls the throttle. Yeah. But the thing is, though, is that around the same time that I had that thought, and when I was reading the rule book, was when they changed it. So I'm like, gotcha. Gotcha, bitch. I'm not the only one that saw that.